Welcome to Module 6, and this module is all about Axios, and we're going to persist our data back to the database. We've got it running locally. Now we're going to refactor our code and save our changes into our database from our React application. So coming up in this particular module then, we're going to install and make use of Axios and refactor our code to use it. It's a pretty short module actually, but there are a few different options for using an HTTP client in a React application. It's not like Angular, which gives us an HTTP client that we can use. We have to make a decision about what we're going to use, and my personal choice is Axios. Now, there is a native JavaScript library called Fetch, which can also be used to retrieve data from our database, but that one's a bit low level for my liking, and I prefer Axios because it comes with a few additional features. For starters, Axios is smart enough to know when something is an error. And if a server returns a 400 or a 500 series error, and we can automatically do something to catch that error and then do whatever we want to do with it. If we were using Fetch, then we would have to manually check for the status code ourselves and then do something with it. It won't automatically class anything as an error in an HTTP response. Also, Axios comes with interceptors. We're able to intercept either the request or the response and do something with that request. And that's going to be useful when it comes to handling errors. And it's also going to be useful when it comes to sending up headers to our server. And there's a certain header that we're going to want to send up later on, which is going to allow us to authorize our request to the API. So that's also a useful feature, and Axios also gives us a response object, which gives us a lot of information about the response we get back from the server. And if our server is returning data to us, then we'll have this all inside a data object that we can interrogate and get the data out of, as well as other useful information as well. So the before and after picture isn't really going to be significantly different in this case, and if we take a look at the before picture, well, it's just our application running locally. And we do have the ability to update and delete. But the after picture, we're going to add some delay into our application. And any of our changes that we make, we're going to be able to persist onto our API server and save them back into the database. And you'll notice that there is a delay in the request. And that's not because our API server is slow. It's because we've induced some delay, because it's helpful during development to see what our application might look like if it was running on an actual server across the network on the internet, where you're not going to be guaranteed to get the same speeds that you see when developing locally. So that's what's coming up, and we'll start off by installing Axios.